The world feels very fast today. We wake up and immediately look at our phones. The news is loud and the clock is always moving. It feels like we're running a race that never ends. Every day we try to keep up, but the world just gets faster. This constant speed makes us feel tired before the day even starts. Think about your to-do list for a moment. It never seems to get shorter. As soon as you finish one task, 3 more appear. This list follows us everywhere. It is in our pockets and on our screens. We carry the weight of these tasks like a heavy bag. We often forget that we're allowed to put the bag down. Stress is not just a thought in your mind. It is a physical feeling that lives in your body. You might feel your heart racing for no clear reason. Perhaps your shoulders are always tight and high. Your head feels heavy, as if it is full of grey clouds. This is your body telling you that the world is too loud right now. Many people live in a state of constant worry. We worry about the past and we fear the future. This tension becomes our normal way of living. We forget what it feels like to be truly calm. Our breathing becomes shallow and fast. We are physically present, but our minds are lost in a storm of digital noise and social pressure. There is a powerful secret that most people overlook. You do not need to travel to a mountain to find peace. You do not need to quit your job or leave your room. There is a way to stop the noise from the inside out. It is a quiet revolution that starts with a single choice. This journey begins exactly where you are sitting. We are glad you are joining us for this story. Before we continue, take a second to tell us where you are watching from. We love seeing how far this community reaches across the globe. If you enjoy deep and meaningful stories like this one, please subscribe. Your support helps us share these important paths to peace with more people everywhere. The noise of the modern world is more than just sound. It is the constant demand for our attention. Every app and every person wants a piece of our time. We feel like we must respond to everything instantly. This makes our internal world feel messy and loud. We lose the ability to hear our own quiet thoughts because the world is shouting. Our phones are like small windows that never close. Through them, we see the whole world's problems at once. We see the best parts of other people's lives and compare them to our worst moments. This technology is amazing, but it can also be a heavy burden. It keeps our minds busy even when our bodies are trying to rest and recover. Everyone wishes they had a pause button for life. We want to stop the clock and just breathe for a minute. We look for escapes in movies, food, or travel. But these are only temporary fixes. When the movie ends, the stress returns. We need a way to find peace that stays with us, even when the world around us remains busy and difficult. There is a different way to live. It is a path that leads away from the chaos and into the center of who you are. This is not about escaping reality, but about seeing it clearly. By the end of this journey, you will see that silence is not empty. Silence is full of answers. It is time to explore the quiet revolution. Thousands of years ago, the world was a very different place. There were no phones or busy cities. However, the human mind was the same as it is today. Our ancestors also felt fear, anger, and confusion. They faced natural dangers and the struggles of living together. They needed a way to find balance in a world that felt unpredictable and sometimes scary. In those ancient times, wise men and women made an incredible discovery. They realized that the human mind is like a wild animal. If you try to fight it, it becomes more aggressive. But if you watch it quietly, it begins to calm down. They began to practice looking inward. They found that the greatest technology in the world is the human mind itself. These early explorers of the mind did not use tools or machines. They used their own breath and their own attention. They discovered that by focusing on the present moment, they could change how they felt. The outside world did not change, but their internal world became a place of safety. This was the birth of meditation, a practice older than most civilizations. For a long time, these techniques were kept as secrets. They were passed down in quiet temples and remote forests. People thought meditation was only for spiritual leaders or monks. It was seen as something mysterious and difficult. But at its heart, it was always meant for everyone. It was a simple tool designed to help humans handle the stress of being alive. As centuries passed, this ancient knowledge began to travel. It moved across borders and through different cultures. Each culture gave it a different name, but the practice remained the same. It was about finding the space between your thoughts. Today, we are bringing this lost technology into our modern lives. We are realizing that our ancestors knew something we have forgotten. The word mindfulness is very popular now, but it is actually quite simple. It is not a religion or a complex philosophy. Mindfulness simply means being here, right now. It means noticing the air on your skin and the sound of the room. It is the opposite of being on autopilot. Most of the time we are moving, but our minds are somewhere else. Think about how often you eat a meal without really tasting it. You might be watching TV or thinking about work. This means you are not truly there. Mindfulness invites you to come back to the present. It teaches you that the only moment you truly have is this one. The past is a memory, and the future is a dream. Only now is real. Ancient wisdom tells us that suffering comes from wanting things to be different. We want the weather to change, or we want people to act differently. When we fight reality, we feel pain. Meditation teaches us to accept the moment as it is. This does not mean we give up. It means we start from a place of peace instead of a place of war. This ancient path is very cinematic when you think about it. Imagine a traveler sitting under a tree while a storm rages around him. He does not try to stop the wind. He simply sits still until the storm passes. This is what we do when we meditate. We sit still while the storms of our lives blow around us. We remain the center. The most amazing part of this practice is its simplicity. You do not need to buy anything. You do not need a special room or expensive clothes. All you need is your own body and a few minutes of time. This makes it a very democratic tool. It is available to the rich and the poor, the young and the old, in every corner of the world. As we move into the modern age, we're seeing a bridge being built. On one side, we have ancient traditions that have worked for thousands of years. On the other side, we have modern science that wants to know why they work. We are now living in a time where we can prove the benefits of silence. The bridge between the past and the future is open. We are now ready to look at what happens inside our bodies when we choose silence. The ancient discovery was right, but modern science gives us the pictures to prove it. We are about to see how our brains are built and how they can be changed. This is the architecture of the mind, and it is more flexible than you think. For a long time, doctors believed the brain could not change after childhood. They thought that once you became an adult, your brain was fixed. They believed your habits and your personality were locked in forever. But recently, science discovered something wonderful called neuroplasticity. This means your brain is like plastic or clay. It can be reshaped and changed throughout your entire life. Inside your brain, there is a small part called the amygdala. We can think of this as the panic center. Its job is to look for danger. In the past, it watched for wild animals. Today, it reacts to a mean comment or a busy schedule. When you are stressed, the amygdala becomes very active. It sends signals to your body to stay on high alert. There is another part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. We can call this the wisdom center. It is located right behind your forehead. This part helps you make good decisions, stay calm, and focus on your goals. The wisdom center is what makes us human. It allows us to think before we act. In a healthy brain, the wisdom center is in charge. When we live with constant stress, a physical change happens. The panic center actually grows larger. It becomes like an overworked muscle. Because it is so big, it starts to take over. At the same time, the wisdom center can become weaker and thinner. This is why it is so hard to stay calm when you are tired. Your brain is physically biased toward panic. Think of your brain as a garden with many paths. If you walk down the path of worry every day, that path becomes wide and easy to follow. The path of peace becomes covered in weeds because you never use it. Neuroplasticity tells us that we can choose which paths to walk. We can stop using the worry path and start building a new path of calm. Let's look at a common example: a traffic jam. Most people feel their panic center turn on immediately. They feel angry and trapped. Their heart rate goes up. This reaction does not make the cars move faster. It only hurts the person in the car. By training the brain, a person can learn to see a traffic jam as just a moment to sit and breathe. Consider another situation: receiving a difficult email at work. Your brain might see this as a digital attack. The panic center wants to fight or run away. You might type a mean reply or feel sick to your stomach. But with a strong wisdom center, you can pause. You can see the email for what it is, just words on a screen. You choose how to respond. The biology of fear is very powerful. When the panic center is active, it releases chemicals like cortisol into your blood. These chemicals are good for running away from a fire, but they are bad for your heart and your sleep if they stay in your body too long. Silence is the natural medicine that clears these chemicals away. It tells your brain that you are safe. Researchers have found something strange and beautiful in people who meditate. After only 8 weeks of practice, the physical shape of their brains changes. The panic center actually starts to shrink. It becomes less reactive. This means the person does not just feel calmer, they are physically less capable of feeling extreme stress. Their brain has been redesigned for peace. While the panic center gets smaller, the wisdom center gets thicker and stronger. This is like going to the gym for your mind. With a stronger wisdom center, you have more control over your emotions. You can stay focused for longer periods. You can remember things more clearly. You are literally building a better brain through the power of silence and attention. This process of building new pathways is amazing. Every time you bring your attention back to your breath, you are making a connection in your brain. It is like laying a new brick for a house. At first, it does not look like much. But over time, you build a solid structure that can protect you from the storms of life. Persistence is the key to this change. In high-tech labs, scientists use MRI machines to watch this happen in real time. They see parts of the brain lighting up that were dark before. They see the communication between different areas becoming faster and more efficient. This is not magic, it is biology. We are learning that the mind can heal the brain. We have the power to influence our own evolution. By shrinking the fear center, we gain a new kind of freedom. We are no longer slaves to our first reactions. We can feel a difficult emotion without being controlled by it. This is the biological foundation of emotional intelligence. It allows us to be the person we want to be, even when life is hard. We are reclaiming our inner landscape from the noise. Building the focus center also helps us in our daily work. In a world of distractions, the ability to focus is a superpower. Most people switch tasks every few minutes. Their brains are fragmented. Meditation trains the brain to stay on one thing. This makes us more productive and less tired. We get more done by doing less with our minds. Science and ancient wisdom are finally saying the same thing. The experts from the past knew it through experience, and the experts of today know it through data. We are designed to be peaceful, but we have to practice it. Now that we understand the science, let's look at the reality of how we start this practice. It is not always easy, but it is worth it. When you sit down to meditate for the first time, it can feel very strange. You might expect to feel peaceful immediately. You might think your mind will become quiet like a still lake, but for most people, the opposite happens. As soon as you close your eyes, your mind starts to shout. It feels like a radio that you cannot turn off. This is completely normal. There is a common myth that meditation is about having an empty mind. People think they are failing because they are still thinking. But it is impossible to stop all thoughts. Your brain's job is to produce thoughts, just like your heart's job is to beat. Meditation is not about stopping the thoughts. It is about changing how you relate to them. You are watching the parade, not joining it. Try to see your thoughts like clouds in the sky. Some clouds are white and fluffy, and some are dark and heavy. You are the sky, not the clouds. The sky does not try to push the clouds away, it just lets them pass through. When you meditate, you learn to let your thoughts move across your mind without grabbing onto them or following them. The wandering mind is a very human thing. You might start by focusing on your breath, but 10 seconds later, you are thinking about a meeting tomorrow. Then you think about what you want for dinner. Suddenly, you remember something embarrassing you said 5 years ago. This is how the mind works. It loves to travel through time. The goal is to notice the travel. When you realize your mind has wandered, that is a moment of success. Many people feel frustrated and think, "Oh, I'm doing it wrong again." But that moment of noticing is actually the meditation working. It is the moment you wake up. You realize you were lost in a dream, and you decide to come back to the present. Every time you come back, you get stronger. Old memories often pop up when we are quiet. When the world is loud, we can hide from our feelings. But in the silence, things come to the surface. You might feel a sudden sadness or a bit of anger. Do not be afraid of these feelings. They are just energy moving through you. Silence gives you the space to process things you have been carrying for a long time. It is easy to feel like a failure during your first few sessions. You might feel itchy, or your legs might feel uncomfortable. You might think, "This is a waste of time, I have too much to do." These are just tricks your mind plays to keep you busy. The mind is afraid of the quiet because it doesn't know what to do there. Stay with it anyway. Boredom is one of the biggest challenges. We are used to constant entertainment and excitement. Being alone with our own breath feels very dull at first. But boredom is just the gatekeeper to peace. If you can sit through the boredom, you will find a different kind of joy on the other side. It is a quiet, steady joy that doesn't need external stimuli. The most important lesson is to be kind to yourself. If your mind wanders 100 times, simply bring it back 100 times. There is no need for judgment or anger. You are training a very old and complex part of yourself. You would not get angry at a puppy for not knowing how to sit. Treat your own mind with that same patience and gentleness. Returning to the breath is your anchor. The breath is always with you, no matter where you are. It is the one thing that is always in the present moment. By focusing on the feeling of air entering and leaving your body, you connect your mind to your physical reality. This simple act is the core of the entire practice. It is the home you can always return to. Think of this process as 1,000 returns. Each time you return to the breath, you are training your focus. Over time, you will find that the space between your thoughts gets a little bit longer. You might have 3 seconds of pure silence, then 5, then 10. These small moments of quiet are like water for a thirsty plant. They nourish your soul in ways you can't see yet. That first moment of true silence is life-changing. It feels like taking a deep breath after being underwater for a long time. It is a feeling of being completely okay, just as you are. There is nothing to fix and nowhere to go. In that moment, you realize that peace is not something you catch. Peace is something that was already inside you, waiting to be found. Honesty is vital in this journey. Some days, meditation will feel easy. Other days, it will feel like a struggle from start to finish. Both of these days are valuable. The struggle teaches you resilience. The easy days give you rest. By showing up every day, regardless of how you feel, you are telling yourself that your peace is a priority. That is a powerful message. Patience is your greatest ally. You didn't become stressed in one day, and you won't find perfect peace in one day. This is a practice for a lifetime. It is a slow transformation, like a tree growing or a river carving a canyon. Trust the process. The time you spend in silence is never wasted. It is the most productive thing you can do for your well-being. This first win, this realization that you can watch your thoughts without being them, is the turning point. You are no longer just a victim of your own mind. You are the observer. This gives you a new kind of power. As we move forward, we will see how this power translates into your work, your relationships, and your everyday success as an adult in a loud world. For a professional adult, meditation is more than just a way to relax. It is a cognitive edge. In the modern economy, our most valuable asset is our attention. If our attention is scattered, our work suffers. By training the mind, we improve our ability to do deep work. This is the kind of work that requires intense focus and produces the best results in any field. Imagine being in a noisy office with phones ringing and people talking. Most people find it impossible to concentrate. But a person who practices mindfulness has a mental filter. They can choose to stay focused on their task despite the noise. This is not about working harder. It is about working with a clearer mind. You become much more efficient with your energy. Clarity is another major benefit. When our minds are full of stress, it is like looking through a dirty window. We make mistakes because we don't see things clearly. Meditation cleans the window. It helps us see the core of a problem without being distracted by the small details. Our memory improves because we are actually present when information is given to us. The emotional buffer is perhaps the most useful tool for an adult. Between a situation and your reaction, there is a small space. For most people, that space is non-existent. They react instantly. Meditation grows that space. In that space, you have the power to choose your response. This tiny pause can change the entire direction of your day and your career. There is a big difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is controlled by the panic center. It is often loud, defensive, and messy. Responding is controlled by the wisdom center. It is thoughtful, calm, and effective. By creating an emotional buffer, you can face difficult people and hard situations with a sense of quiet confidence. You remain the master of yourself. Think about a family argument. Usually, one person says something hurtful, and the other person says something worse. It escalates quickly. With mindfulness, you can feel the anger rise in your body, but you don't have to let it come out of your mouth. You can observe the anger and wait for it to pass. You stay calm, and often the other person calms down too. In high-pressure meetings, this steady mind is invaluable. While others are getting nervous or aggressive, you remain balanced. You can listen more deeply because you are not busy thinking about what to say next. This makes you a better leader and a better teammate. People are naturally drawn to those who remain calm in a crisis. Your silence becomes your strength. Consider the image of an anchor. When the sea is rough, the ships on the surface are tossed around by the waves. But the anchor stays deep in the still water. You can be that anchor. The world will always have storms, deadlines, bills, and health issues. You cannot control the sea, but you can choose to be the anchor that remains steady and unmoved. Better decision-making is a natural result of a quiet mind. When we are stressed, we make choices based on fear. These are usually short-term fixes that cause long-term problems. When we are calm, we can see the bigger picture. We can think about the future and make choices that align with our true values. This leads to a life with fewer regrets and more meaning. Mental fatigue is a real problem in our digital world. We are constantly processing information, which burns a lot of energy. Meditation is like a fast-charging station for the brain. Even 10 minutes of silence can refresh your mind more than an hour of browsing social media. You reclaim your energy and finish your day feeling less drained and more alive. Reclaiming your energy also means you have more to give to the people you love. When you come home from work, you are not just a tired shell. You have the mental space to truly listen to your partner or play with your children. You are not just physically there, you are mentally present. This improves the quality of every relationship in your life. This sophisticated control is the mark of a mature adult. It is the ability to walk through a loud world with a quiet heart. It is the understanding that your inner peace is your own responsibility. No one can give it to you, and if you are careful, no one can take it away. This is the cognitive edge that leads to a successful and balanced life. We have traveled from the stress of the modern world to the ancient roots of silence. We have seen how our brains can physically change and how we can survive the struggle of starting. Now we look at the long-term impact. This is not just a temporary change, it is a new way of being. The quiet revolution eventually becomes your permanent reality. One of the first things people notice after practicing for a while is better sleep. When your mind is not racing with 1,000 thoughts, your body can finally relax. You fall asleep faster and the quality of your rest is deeper. You wake up feeling truly restored. Sleep is the foundation of health, and peace is the foundation of sleep. Your relationships also begin to transform in a beautiful way. Because you are less reactive, you are more patient. You start to see the struggles in other people with compassion instead of judgment. You become a better listener, which is the greatest gift you can give anyone. Your calm becomes a gift that you share with everyone you meet. Knowing yourself better is a quiet but profound benefit. In the silence, you begin to see your own patterns. You see the stories you tell yourself and the habits that hold you back. This self-awareness is the key to personal growth. You cannot change what you do not see. By looking inward, you gain the power to rewrite your own story. Living intentionally means you are no longer just reacting to life. You start to make choices that truly matter. You spend less time on things that drain you, and more time on things that nourish you. You become more selective about the noise you let into your life. You realize that your time and your peace are precious, and you protect them. The greatest power in the world is not found in what we do, but in our ability to simply be. We are human beings, not human doings. Our worth is not measured by our productivity or our bank accounts. Our worth is inherent. In the silence, we reconnect with this truth. We remember that we are enough exactly as we are right now. You will find beauty in simple moments that you used to ignore. A cup of coffee, the way the light hits a wall, or the sound of the wind in the trees. These small things become sources of deep gratitude. When you are present, the whole world becomes more vivid and meaningful. You don't need big events to feel happy anymore. Resilience for the future is the natural result of this practice. You know that no matter what happens in the world, you have a place of safety inside yourself. You have a toolkit to handle stress and a brain that is wired for calm. You are no longer afraid of the future because you know you can handle whatever comes your way. The quiet revolution is not loud. It does not need to shout to be heard. It is a subtle shift that changes everything. It is the choice to breathe when you want to scream. It is the choice to listen when you want to judge. It is the choice to be still in a world that is constantly moving. This is true strength. As you move forward, carry this silence with you like a hidden treasure. You can access it in the middle of a busy city or a stressful meeting. Just one conscious breath can bring you back to your center. You are the architect of your own mind and the guardian of your own peace. The revolution has begun, and it is inside you. The world will always be loud, but your heart can remain quiet. Thank you for walking this path with us today. May you find the silence between the noise and the peace within the storm. Remember, the most important journey is the one that leads you back to yourself. Sit still, breathe deep, and let the quiet revolution continue.